So for a while now, I've been wanting to complete a Redline restoration, an original Redline. So I found this gem on eBay. You'll see it here in a moment. There it is. Pretty rough shape. It's a 68 custom Eldorado. I wanted to find a Hot Wheels that was not too far gone, but pretty far gone. As you can see, it's pretty far gone. Wheels are wrong, bent. The roof is bent. The A-pillar's bent. Tires are in just horrible shape. It's just pretty rough all the way around. There it is. Hood actually works. It's not broke, surprisingly, but there's a dent in the hood and the A-pillar. It's just a complete mess. Now here I'm just looking it over. I'm going to pop off those tires. Front ones are a little bit more difficult. They didn't pop right off, so I just had to get the needle nose. Now they do make a specialty tool for this, which I can link that below. You can get it at the Redline shop. Here I'm using a center punch to for the rivets, going to start the hole there, just something to ride on. See that back when I didn't get it quite right. So here I'm taking a small drill bit. I think it's a 1.5 millimeter. I'll put a link in the description below, Amazon, where you can buy these parts and whatnot. But I'm just kind of getting it started. I'm going to take a larger drill bit here in a moment, right there, just so I can drill those rivets out, because I need to get the base separate from the actual casting itself. So just going kind of slow, drill a little bit, check it out, drill a little bit, check it out. Just keep on doing that. Now if you're going to do a complete restoration, be very careful in doing that, because you can very easily mar the base, the chassis. So, and also you'll notice later on that I am actually going to be using screws to screw this base on to the chassis, whereas if you were doing a complete restoration, you'd want to buy some reproduction rivets. Here I'm just kind of squaring up those posts a little bit with the snips, and I'm just checking out the wheel bearings, making sure they still work, they're all good. Take out the interior and the glass, clean it up, and just inspecting everything. You can see the hood, it's still perfectly intact, which is amazing. Now here I'm taking some remover here. It's like an orange strip. I'll put a link to that as well. And I let it sit for about 30 minutes, not even that, and it just wipes off with a towel. This is the original paint. That's how easy it comes off with that stripper. It's perfectly safe. It's got a citrus smell. It's awesome. I'm using it down here in the basement. It doesn't, not toxic or anything like that. Here I'm taking a punch and a hammer and lightly tapping out that A-pillar that was bent. Just short taps. Now I'm doing the roof, because it had a dent in it as well. Again, this car was pretty far gone, and I wanted one that was, you know, pretty bad. So fitting in the glass, because the roof was a little bit higher than I wanted it to be, so there's a little bit of gap between the glass and the roof. So I'm just putting the glass in there, just kind of rough fitting it and making sure that it's not too far up. And now I'm just kind of hammering it back and getting it to where it needs to be, where it's not perfect, but close enough. And that dent's pretty much gone. Still working on it just a little bit with a punch and a hammer. And it's pretty much completely gone now. Can't even tell it's there. Taking a wire brush here with the drill. Because I'm down in the basement now. If I were in the garage, I'd use an air tool, but just taking a regular drill with a wire brush and just kind of kicking off some of that crud. See, it's still pretty pitted. Not as bad as it was, but we're getting it where it needs to be. And the nice thing about a drill, it's a low speed. So here I'm just, the wheel bearings themselves, if you notice at the beginning, the tires were pretty bent up. That's because of the wire and the bearing. So straightening them out and just kind of putting the wheel on each one just to make sure that they're not bent. And I'll, in a moment here, there's the new tires, or wheels rather. I got those from the Redline shop. They're about $7 for a set of 4. These are mediums. I'll post a link to that as well in the description, so you can get those, but they're reproductions. They're flawless. They're awesome. And now I just kind of dry fit everything and make sure it rolls and all that good stuff. Now here's a slight imperfection in the C-pillar, I guess you'd call it right there. You see that chunk of metal. Had nothing to do with the condition of the vehicle. This was from the factory, so this was something that was just there, just a big chunk of metal that I don't know if it was on the sprue or what, but just taking a small file and just lightly filing that down. I don't want to go too far because I don't want to get rid of that line that kind of separates the roof or the C-pillar from kind of like the window area. So I don't want to do away with that line, so I'm just kind of lightly doing it. Again, this is all sped up, so all in all, this project was a couple hours, and we'll go over that more towards the end here. But you can see I got it pretty well close. I'm gonna just do a little bit more detail on it, just to kind of get it blended in there. Now I'm taking some 1000 grit sandpaper in a Scotch-Brite pad and just buffing it out a little bit. You see it's actually coming to life. That roof is looking really good there. And you can use 1005. You can start with, I just started with 1000. Now I'm drilling out the actual post. And I'm using that same bit that I started with at the beginning to kind of get it started for the larger bit. I think it's a 1.5 millimeter. I'll have the exact one in the description, but I believe that's what it is. So be sure you don't drill too far. You don't want to drill into the back of the trunk area or the hood. So you don't want to drill all the way through. Now I'm taking the tap, and I also have this in the description below, and I'm tapping out for a screw. Now if you were going to do a so-called, complete restoration, you would not need to tap these. You would just simply drill the hole and then you could glue those rivets in there. I like to put screws in there just because, well, first of all, I don't have any rivets. Second of all, that's makes it nice. If you ever want to take it apart again, you just unscrew it and you can take it apart, screw it back together, you're good to go. So I just, with the tap, I just go in a little bit, back it out, get any of the chunks out of there, just a little bit at a time. I'm going to do the front here. Again, just you go in a little bit, you'll feel some resistance, then you back it out, get the little debris out of there, go back in again. You don't want to snap that bit. These are very easy to snap. It's a small tap. It's made by Dubro, so it's a really small tap, and I've broken them before, and if you break them off in there, you're pretty much done. Try to drill them out, but usually you can't, so just be very, very careful with doing that. And I'm just showing you the actual, and I just got a handle on there, just a cheap RC handle from a RC, same with this tool. So here I'm just going to screw the screws in just to make sure everything's good there. There's the front one, that's good. And we'll also have a description to the screws that I'm using below, tools, everything you need to do one of these restorations. Whether you're customizing, doing a restoration, whatever you're doing, all that will be in the description below and get you right on your way. I'm just fitting the rear one here. And again, with those, I kind of just barely screw them in, make sure I'm not going too far. Here I'm just applying some Mother's polish. I put it on with my finger, and then I take my Dremel. I've got just a buffing wheel, and I'm just buffing it out. I want to get it shiny, almost to like a chrome finish, but not quite. I don't want an exact chrome finish, because if you get a chrome finish, you won't get the right look with the Spectraflame paint that you're looking for. So it's just right, I don't know how to describe it, right before you get that chrome finish. And here we are, the Spectraflame Red. And again, I got this from Redline shop. I think it's about $7 a bottle. And I'm just shaking it up real good. And I also got the hardener. Now, you don't have to use it with the hardener. The nice thing about the hardener, though, is you don't have to put a clear coat on it, for one thing. And the other thing is it dries it rock solid. You don't have to worry about it chipping or coming off. So There's the Spectraflame paint, and here is the hardener, which also runs about $6 on the Redline shop. Shake that up real good. I'm going to put that in there as well. Now the first couple coats are really light, and it barely even covers it. Makes it look a very light pink. And then I just keep on spraying it. It's dry in between. There we go with the finished product. I think all in all it was about 5 coats. See, it's looking real good there. Now one thing I did do and I didn't put on camera is I did bake this in the oven after I had all that on there. 220 degrees for a half hour. And the reason why I did that is I wanted to speed it up and I wanted to paint the roof because I wanted to get this all done within a day. Now, if I didn't want to finish it within a day, I would have not baked it. I mean, I could have waited 24 hours and just taped it off and then do it. My fear was if I didn't let it cure fast enough when I taped it off, that it would peel the paint up after I painted the roof. So that was my big fear because it can come up really easy if it's not cured yet. So again, if you're not going to bake it in the oven, just wait for a day or two before you tape it or anything like that. Handle it. But if you do want to get it done soon, 220 degrees for about a half hour, and you'll bake that paint on there, and you'll be good to touch it, play with it, whatever you need to do. So I was just a little impatient, wanted to get the video done, and I only had about a day to do it, not even a day. So you can figure maybe 2 hours for this restoration, 2.5 if you bake it, what have you. It doesn't take very long to do these at all, maybe not even that. So here I'm just taping it off, just using some painter's tape and some, the smaller thin tape is for like just masking off models and what have you, just to get some of the small areas. So this is the Magic Black Vinyl Roof Paint. Again, this is from the Redline shop too. They didn't sponsor this video or anything like that. It's just they happen to have everything I needed there. Again, that's about $6 or $7 a bottle as well. But you can use it for both these multiple coats, multiple cars. You barely even use any of this roof, that magic roof that's I barely used any of the bottle. So I think I only put 2 coats of that. So I'm just taking the paint off here, or the tape off rather. Sorry, it's kind of late. It's about 12:30 in the evening, so I'm not quite with it, but I wanted to get this put out there. So slowly taking that tape off. Even though I baked it, I still want to be very careful with it. And there we are with the finished roof, which looks really good. It's got that vinyl look that it had from the factory. And again, it may look like I missed something here, but the pillars were not originally, the A pillars were not black. They were always red. So I didn't miss that part. That's just how it was. I wanted to make it exactly how it was. And here I'm painting, I'm just taking some Testors black paint here and painting the grill black because it was originally black. So I wanted to go ahead and do that again. And I've just got a small paintbrush and some Testors black paint and just going to paint it in there. Just taking my time, just little bits at a time, just getting it in there. And I could have used the magic paint for the roof because it did have kind of that flat black tint to it, but too thin to put on with the brush. I didn't feel like getting out the airbrush again. So here we are. It's kind of all finished. We're gonna put the interior together. And here's the original glass. Now I did order glass from the Redline shop just because I didn't know. I ordered these ahead of time. I just got this all in on Friday. Today it's Sunday, so I didn't know what the condition of the glass was going to be. From the picture on eBay, I couldn't really tell. So I just ordered new glass, and that was, I think, around $10 from the Redline shop. And here I'm just kind of putting the whole thing together. Inspecting it. And in a minute here, we'll go ahead and put the screws in. There you go. Putting the front screw in. Again, this is just a normal Allen wrench, but I've got a just a handle screwed to it, so make it a little bit easier. Got the front on. We'll go ahead and put the back one on. Zoom out a little bit so you can see what is actually going on. Probably should have sped this part up as well. Wanted to make a video as short as possible. Been a little bit under the weather and all that, but there we go. So it's done. It's ready to be played with or displayed. This, I usually give all my cars to my grandson. You can see there's the screws there all in place. This one I'll probably keep. See, it turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to. The hood still works. Nice and that Spectraflame looks pretty close to what it would have been. You can see all those, all that nastiness is gone from the finish. All those divots and everything. Now there's still a few in there, hard to see. You can see that A pillar still has a little bit of a curve to it, but nothing like it did. But I'm very pleased with the results. Can't wait to do another one. Hopefully we'll find some other cheap Redlines. Again, this was like $13 on eBay. The tools I already had. The paint, like the flat black, I can reuse that. The Spectraflame, I can reuse that if I find another that's red. So the only real non-necessary cost, I think, and this would have been the windshield. I probably could have buffed that original one out. And that's one thing I can't use on another car, obviously. But everything else I could. So if you're going to do a lot of these, it's definitely well worth the price. The wheels, you may find a Redline that has good wheels. Probably not. But they're definitely worth it. So hopefully you enjoyed this. And please feel free to post any questions or comments.